Hey, welcome back to a boat called Wanda. So I thought I'd get an early start to this update and do a little bit of filming, or chatting rather, during my 4-hour drive down to see Wanda. So the plan for today, I've got one more 3-hole to fit because I was missing some super long bronze bolts, which I've got now. And then we're going to do a dry fit of the rudder assembly to lift up that rudder, put it back. I'm missing one thing, it's a Delron spacer to go between the gudgeon and pintle, and yeah, that's been lost along the way somehow. So, and I've not been able to source one. I don't know where to try and get these things from. So I've got to come back another time once I can source this spacer. But for now, hopefully we can mount it. We can drill holes through to mount the gudgeon. We can line up the shaft, reposition it, and check the work that both Anthony, which he started the work, and Rob, who's finished it, done, to see if that works out. Right, so that's the plan. Maybe it's one more coffee and then I'll be there. Okay, so let's take a look what's going on here. So there's a build up here for some eyebrows to stop the water from just hitting the back of this and slowing the boat down. Now, I don't know about this. This is a little bit, there's a real sharp edge here. Don't know what's going on with that. It's not really the way I would have done it, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Gosh, maybe it's meant to be that way, I don't know. I'll talk to Rob when he gets in. So let's take a look at what's going on. All the keel is pretty much done. Yeah, all those seams have been faired out, which is good. Go up. Not much left down there. Let's go in. Poor old Wanda, what a mess, hey? And it doesn't make things look much better. Poor old Wanda's in a right state. What I need to do today, I brought back some longer screws, so these were too short. I can mount this one in, and then need to take out these old fittings. Let's take a look back here. Up and over. Right. Don't know what that was for. Yeah, so this has been taken out, which is great. That was a massive job trying to get this bloody old broken down rotten shaft out. Now I need to source another one. We'll go back there somewhere. Lovely Seacocks. Job well done. Oh, I've got one more up there to mount as well, okay. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one? I've got some plastic to cut through, but there's sealant, so maybe I'll try and use this first to get through the sealant, and then switch to this to actually cut through the plastic housing. So not sure about this video quality, what it's going to be like. I'm just using my old Sony headcam in the hope that I can actually start to get a bit more footage, because yeah, last couple of times I've just been a bit frustrated by the time it takes to set up proper video shooting, and as a result nothing's sort of been shot. So maybe it's better to get some not quite perfect images or footage rather than try and set everything up perfectly and then run out of time to do some work. Okay, so let's try this on the sealer. might actually come off in one go. Look at that. Hurrah! Something that went well for a change. Tell you what, it's really nice to do a civilised job like this, a small 1 hour job, and everything gets done in one go. Really nice change. Okay, well, I've managed to borrow Rob's reciprocating saw, so I'm going to use that to cut some star patterns through these plastic transducer mountings, because they're well and truly bunged in there with a hell of a lot of Sikaflex. So yeah, let me cut through that. Okay, so I've knocked out those two transducer mountings here. The holes are quite big, as you can see, and there's something a little bit weird going on here. This is basically all rubber around here. I think they've embedded a tube down and then just filled it up with some silicone around here. Yeah, and then here on the other side, on the underside, you can see what I mean. There's kind of like this tube that protrudes down a little bit. It's all chipped on the end. And then there's the other one. So I think I need to leave this until I come back with the transducer, the one that I'm going to buy, and then work out what I need to do to tidy this up and set it in. Okay, so I want to move on to do a little bit of preparation for trying to fit the rudder tomorrow with Rob. First of all, let me show you this though. This is that bloody tube that we couldn't get out, and Rob got it out on his own. Basically, we had a reciprocating saw, and we came in from the inside the engine room to cut this size with a 300mm piece, and then from the outside in and you know, met up the cuts in the middle. So we cut a star, or 4 sections. We went through 8 blades because they were just blunting so quickly, and yeah, Rob was able to get this out. So that's great. As you can see, it's quite ready pink where it's all dezinkified. The reason why we couldn't get it out is it's got all this texture on it to really let this bed in so it could move. So great that it's out, but I'm a little bit worried about how I'm going to get a new tube made and how I'm going to set it back into the mount there and make sure that it's all perfectly aligned with the engine. That's a little bit overwhelming. So now what I want to do is take this bloody heavy bronze shaft that goes to mount the rudder and then goes all the way to the deck for an emergency tiller. Gosh, this is heavy. It's probably about 15-20 kilograms. I just want to clean it up. It's all pretty dirty, and it doesn't move up into the bushes in the hull that easily, so I need to just get some wet and dry on this and take all the grit off so that it goes up there smoothly. It's nice to be standing up straight down here and not sort of hunched over in the bows of my boat somewhere. So I'm just using some 1200 wet and dry and steel wool. Bit of water will help, and seems to be working quite well. So let me beaver on with this for another hour, and then I'll give you a look. Go and have a coffee if you want. Okay, so that's done. Wasn't the most fun in the world, but that's okay. It's yeah, it's a little bit of pitching in it still. It's not perfect, but it should be okay. I should be able to reuse this. Let's take a look. Okay, so there it is. This top part's actually quite good, although as you can see there's just a little bit of pitting. It's quite shallow. And then as we get down towards the business end, this is the part that goes into the rudder blade. There's a lot more pitting going on. You can see here, and kind of slight gouges where the nylon bush met it. There's the first slot for the key for the quadrant, and then there's another key slot down here that goes into the rudder blade itself. But it should be hopefully clean enough, smooth enough to be able to insert into the shaft tomorrow to do a dry fit of putting all this back together. Okay, so this is the other side of that shaft that goes down for the rudder stock, and I just want to have a bit of a look at it to see what's going on here. Oh dear. Now, I've got no idea where I'd get a replacement for this if it needs to be replaced, so I'm hoping that it's salvageable and that this is just a bit of surface muck. So let's see. This is actually like a grease nozzle. I don't know how it works, but there's grease here. So I guess you just fill that up. Right, this is going to be a little bit hard, but basically I need to get this old grease and muck out of here because there's a bit of grit, and I don't want the grit to catch on the shaft when I push it up there and then cause it to scratch these bushes. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time with a toothbrush, some acetone, try and clean this out. Okay, so today's the day where we try and dry fit this rudder back together. A little bit nervous about this because it's, yeah, it's got to be right. So the shaft's gone in there really nicely after I've cleaned it up and I've got all the gunk out of inside. I'll show you a bit more about that later. So yeah, it was really hard to get out. It had so much friction with all the old grease and grit, but after being cleaned up, it's just slid in there really nicely. And I've got the rudder itself here, and we're just at the stage now where we're putting together the gudgeon and the pin tool. I've still got a 6mm spacer that needs to go here, lining up the bolts so that we can then secure this back here. Right, so I've got this held up here just by this bar, using the key there to hold it there so that we can get the rudder underneath. So I go back down. You ready, Rob? Yeah. Can you see it yet? No, not yet. It's catching on something. Okay, do you want me to reset this and hold it back here and come down? It needs to be 180 degrees around the other way. Okay, I'll come down. Okay, well the good thing is, this is back on. So probably had to do 3 or 4 attempts of trying to marry the shaft down to match this. And we've also had to take a lot of material off this because it was a bit of a guess. You know, we just shoved the tube into the back of this filler to make the round size, but or the round shape, but we didn't really know how it was going to be. So we've put it on and taken it off and put it on and taken it off 3 or 4 times and sanded it back, and it's good. So it's swinging freely. It's still pinching on this side, and that's okay. We know why it's doing that. It's sort of pinching up here. So the final change is to take it off and then need to take away a fair bit of material along here to stop it from pinching. But apart from that, it's back on. It's a great relief. Right, last job for today before I head back is to knock out this old nylon bush and get another one made up, because I won't be doing this again. Hopefully it's going to come out. Oh yeah, that's coming down. Good, I'll keep going. Okay, the bush has come out, which is good. One thing I've noticed is it's not quite round, there's like a little bump there. So I might need to hammer that back to get it round again, and then I'll get a new bush and I'll put that inside, but it's nice and clean. I've got all the oil and gunk out. Yeah, okay, so I'll end the update at this point. I've got to go back and do my big drive soon. So probably 1 or 2 more visits down here, and Rob's going to keep working on this. And then, yeah, another 2 visits, and then probably we'll start, we will paint the top sides because it should be warm enough. And then after that, I'll be able to move Wanda out and down closer to where I am. So, yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot's happening, but when I think about this, this has been like a year or 2 years, you know, this rudder issue, and it's a massive, massive repair. So lots of things that have been sort of, you know, building in the last year or year and a half now are suddenly starting to come to completion. So it was really 4 hours of putting this back together, and we're almost there. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. If anybody knows a hairdresser in the area, let me know.